So I have Angelo with us here with me, and we're going to talk about everything and more. We were just talking before starting to record that we met probably 2009, 2010.
2009. I don't recall exactly when. Sabrina was our connecting person.
Was the class that we took online?
Social media, how to project yourself through social media.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's very interesting because I'm inviting someone else
Also
from the same group.
Okay.
We have been friends since.
Wow.
So that's really refreshing.
Yeah.
I guess that's the good side of social media, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess something on my social presence enticed you to approach me for this discussion.
Yes.
I guess.
As I said in other videos, the reason of this channel is we fight in this life. Some people fight more, some people fight less. That's according to their perspective. And, but that fight, that unhappiness or struggle is just to get to know yourself better, get to the bottom, and find yourself doing better things for you and for the people around you. Within those troubled times, sometimes we get this sparkle of light, wisdom, intelligence. We don't know where it comes from, but it comes, and it allows us to take the right
steps.
Sometimes the right steps, sometimes do not.
We choose not to.
Yeah, we choose not to. Exactly. Yes. And so that's the reason of all these chats with people, and we might find something that we resonate with, and perhaps can help us to understand our own journey, how far we are, or how close, and of not just to understand things. We don't have to. Just time in space is unexistent, yeah. But we always want to measure everything. We're just humans. But what I mean is just we just want to see the progress. It's good to tell us that we are progressing. We are doing. Yeah,
you need to measure where you are in your progress.
It's just for us and for everybody that watch these videos. So tell me a little about yourself, who you are, and before we start going to the deep
questions themselves.
What do you like? What excites you in life?
Of course, making progress, having success involves having family, having a partner, having the means to do things that you like. I describe those as part of success, but I don't necessarily define success as the majority would, the society would describe it as having the nice car, the Bugatti and those type of cars and so forth, but more the means to be able to go wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go. That's what for me is having that is happiness, and I always have had that. Sometimes I may have had the impression that I was stuck, but it's all a matter of what I discovered and I research, and we can talk elaboratively about it. Whenever I go in and I connect with myself, I connect with everything, and then the answers come to me. And I have had that all throughout my life. And there is no, at least from my experience and my conviction, that there is no moment that you cannot get out of if you reconnect with yourself and then reconnect with everything, that you get that that a spark of motivation, that information that you need to continue. And
Yeah, that's true. So
and-
I did a little research about you.
Mm.
You belong to the Running Institute. You're a
Yeah.
scholar there. And one of your specialties is quantum and spirituality.
Yeah.
I guess that's what sort of caught me with your post in Facebook,
Yeah.
because I, we are magnets.
Yeah.
You always,
Uh,
just orbitate around people that do feel the same as you.
Yeah.
So, and I guess this progress, you can sort of do it, or at least explain from the quantum side of life, or is just you do just pure science on that case?
It is a combination of the two. At least in our society, there's people that are science. That's the only way of looking at things, and there is the quantum people that look at things from a quantum level. And there's also spiritual people, the Zen, the Buddhists, and so forth, that live in the mountains and so forth. I combine the two. I can go back and forth between the two. And one of my abilities is to absorb a lot of information. I go inside. That's a Zen, maybe a Zen meditation, and then I come with answers, and I can see the patterns. And that's why I selected complexity science as the base of my scientific exploration. To explain some complexity science in a nutshell is you have seen birds flying together in a swarm, and you have seen also fishes flying together like that. That's a complex system. That's an example of a complex system, and that behavior is based on only three rules. It's based on don't go forward. First rule. The second rule is don't crash in anybody, and don't actually avoid obstacles. And the third rule is to keep a distance from anybody else, your mates in your movement, and that creates that swarming back and forth. It's beautiful. It's very mesmerizing. Now imagine that in our body, in our nature, in our universe, there's many of those systems working together like that, dancing together and keeping each other alive, keeping each other moving and adapting to each other like that. If you take one of those systems out of working, of not functioning anymore, the whole system will become weaker. Yeah. And most people know that if you take the bees out of our ecosystem, everything else crashes. That's what science shows today. And our recent exposure, our recent experiences with COVID is our immune system is such a system as well. And during COVID, it has been very, very much suppressed and not believed in, but it's very powerful if we feed it what it needs to be adaptive and keep us in health.
I do believe that.
Yeah,
and also your spirit, your
spirit.
will.
Yeah. So if we go from spirituality to science, science is just an aspect of what spirituality knew a long time ago. Especially Asian culture and the Indian culture, they all have had that long time ago. I am particularly affiliated, or have an affinity for Asian science, Asian culture. I've been a martial artist since I was a kid. My father was, so I also took it up. And that is actually one of the aspects that has given me the skills and both the skills, the mental dexterity, discipline, and the spiritual connection. Both my parents are spiritual, but they never developed it. But I intentionally developed it, and where I developed a very deep understanding of how our environment, how our ecosystem, how our universe works. And I'm still learning, but I tend to apply it as much as possible. For instance, one simple thing is to be present in the moment, right now. And if you are not, then your balance is you're a bit disbalanced, and you are wasting energy. It's when you are present in the moment that all your being is in the moment, and very active, very
Kind of
precise.
100%
100%, yeah, in the moment.
energy.
Yes.
Is
So, yeah. Anything else is a deviation. And one thing
and
I
you
can say,
lose your kind of percentage, just
you
to
use
put it as a
you lose
measurement.
your shine and your power. Any deviation of that is yeah, you lose your shine and your power. And our society has been normalizing that through medicine, through propaganda, through all these things that deviate you from being
There is always those
integral to yourself.
news about like wars.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah,
they're going to
yeah.
be news, but that's the main.
Yeah, the false flags and the fake news and those things. Yeah, they
Yes,
keep
all
you away
about
from that.
fear.
Yeah,
Fear.
fear.
Take
Yeah,
your
fear-based.
power away. Yes, yes.
And
Yeah. So, well, you obviously know how to get into your power in for your answers. You just say that. But what was before when you just did you ever knew that, or when did you ever knew that you could go inside and get your questions, or you develop you just start learning, listening?
It might be I've been born with it, because my mom was actively, when she was young, doing that, but then she didn't continue to develop that. I do very vividly recall when I had an operation at around 6 years old. In first instance, I rejected it, but then as I grew, I came to understand what it was. And then once I accepted it, I could. I started with martial arts at 8, so I started looking into those things. My mom had books around, so I read everything from cover to cover. My mom bought encyclopedias, and I read them from cover to cover. So a lot of that information, I gobbled it up, and then I little by little came into patterns. I signed up with several mystical societies to gobble up more knowledge, more information.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I
because some
was,
of all this information, some is not that it's false, but it's not
that's an interesting thing that you're saying, because
exactly. So
how
did you get
do
the
you
right
distinguish?
information?
Yeah, how do you distinguish the information from the false information? I developed the ability to the key word is to discern, and that has to do with your integrity, staying in integrity with yourself, and it's you in integrity that can discern whatever that is false or true for you. It might not be the same for somebody else. That's the key
I
thing.
love that. I love that. I love that. I love that,
So
because
we each of us can create our own reality, and we, by doing that, co-create our co-reality.
yeah, because once you create yours, you create the ones around you. So you affect others in certain ways that.
And we all keep each other in balance, keep each other active.
I like that, because I do like to live on principle. That's my life. And somebody called me for a job, and that I had to go to teach Spanish in a school. And so I did everything, and then she called me and says, like, oh, I have an issue, like it's in a Catholic school, and you cannot go because your hair is not natural color.
It's
My
not
hair
Catholic.
is just like
Yeah, I remember it since then, since when we met. I remember that. So you like that color?
Well, it's me, it's me.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
my
okay.
personality. That's who I
Okay.
am, how I present to the world.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine says, like, just put it back on your collar. But I said, no, this is who I am.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
you
yeah,
have.
yeah, yeah.
So it's really important to live in principle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And in everything, whatever you say, whatever you stand for.
Or, yeah,
And I used to, just because I couldn't get to myself, I was, in that 40%, 50% of this energy until I got myself together. And now I stand on my principles, but I never did that. I couldn't talk about it. I said, like,
okay,
no, I think this.
okay.
No, I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's an evolution. You just get to that. But I love that principle. It's just,
it is for me too. It was an evolution. Although I did have the knowledge inside, but I didn't know that it was there per se. Because I as a young kid I didn't know the world, but today I know the world and I can make the distinction. And over time, it's a aspect of growing and knowing more and more and more. But it is something that we all have inside, except that our society, the media, and so forth, it's very intentionally discouraging us from connecting back inside and going and getting that knowledge. I gobbled everything in the books, but the knowledge, the real knowledge, is inside.
Well, sometimes what's happened to me is it's you get the knowledge, but sometimes you cannot connect it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Okay.
kind of you have to feel.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
read thousands of books, but
Yes.
you don't get it.
Yes.
You don't connect it until
Yes.
something happens, or one say like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like so good," and that's when you get all the information that you read or you hear or you saw through all these years, and finally they just light out on you, and that's you understand. That's you understand. But let's go back to a situation. If you ever have a bad situation, most people have in life, like something that, excuse me, is sometimes before and after, or is really impactful that make rethink their lives, or like COVID did for the whole situation, for the whole world. But did you ever had a situation that you felt so bad that you thought I couldn't solve it, or you wouldn't even be in this world because it was so sad, so overwhelming, so difficult? And if so, you obviously came out, and how and what happened. You know what I mean? It's just because you're talking to me, so obviously.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm present here. Yes. I can, as far as I can recall, I haven't been in a situation where I was totally, there was no way out. What I can say is that there were challenges that I didn't see the way out immediately, but I guess I had the innate knowledge to just don't become fearful or become desperate, and just sit and hold and wait and connect. Um, that's how I get books that I need at that moment. That's how somebody comes in and tells me something that opens a whole new world. That's how I met, in a sense, Sabrina, in a sense. And that's how now, today, at my, the person I am today, I use it intentionally. So whenever there's something, for instance, just now I spoke with somebody that I needed to let go, and then how do I tell this person and be as integral as possible about the situation, and that we need to part ways. So I just let it, I feel it, and I let my body, my being tell me what is the best way. And then I trust that and let's just go and do it. I don't apply that only. What I've learned is that in essence, you can do that also for when you are sick, your body is sick. You can ask it, what do you need to do for you to recover or nurse yourself to health? So I use it actively in anything that I see or feel that I'm not feeling proper or well.
So you do have like a way of solving the situation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
not
Yes.
just for bad situations,
Patients. Yeah.
socially or at work or relationship, but
Yeah.
also for your health.
Yeah.
Because I just would like to point that bad situation is according to our perspective.
Yes.
Because
Very much so.
You tell someone else, this is what's happening
Yeah.
to me.
And they,
Look at other people may not see
Yeah.
us as hard,
Yeah.
but when you are in a bad situation, you know, the world crashes and you feel that you don't have a way out. You don't know what to do.
Yes, I can give you a very concrete example. And as I mentioned, I was very young and martial artist, very active, very and intensively. At some point, I was 22 when I came. I used to travel. I used to study in the U.S. I lived in the U.S. for 11 years. Study, work, and professionally had a company there too. When I was in the university, I was coming every 6 months to Curacao, and
So what's your location?
In Miami, I was in Miami
right now. No, right now.
Curacao, Dutch Caribbean. Actually, we didn't start with that, but Curacao.
No, just
Curacao is Curacao. Yeah, Curacao.
Okay. Yeah, Curacao.
Yeah. And it's right in front of Venezuela, so one of the 3 Dutch islands, ABC islands. I remember that I came home. I usually go to shopping to the supermarket with my mom, and in this case, she drove us to one of the supermarkets very close by, and it's a long road. We were driving behind a dump truck, and the dump truck. I told my mom, let's pass this dump truck because I didn't have a good feeling about it. My mom said, no, we will be turning left and the dump truck will continue. But the dump truck too did turn left. And turning left means you go down a little hill, then you need to go up, and then you turn right. And we were going into the same direction. Now, once the dump truck did that, go down and then turn right, there was another fire truck coming head on into the dump truck. The fire truck, of course, couldn't crash into the dump truck because that would be devastating for the driver. So what the driver did, he went onto our side of the road and crashed against us. So at that moment, I saw that truck coming head on to us. I saw the driver eye to eye. I had my glasses on, my Ray-Ban glasses on. I saw him and I quickly turned in my direction, my mom's seat, and I hugged my mom. I did that so fast that my shades went bouncing back in the shield in the back of the car, in the glass, the rear view windshield of the car, the rear one. The fire truck came, took my side off, and went and turned 3 times over in behind us. My side was gone. But in that, so you understand, I can tell you very vividly how everything went.
We are sensitive, super sensitive.
Yes, and I was very aware, very present. And that moment, I knew, I felt that I have 50-50 control. It's 50 me, my choice, and 50 him, or the source, the
spirit.
The spirit, yeah. So I choose at that moment.
But you chose the spirit.
Yeah. And what I can tell you is that in that split second, 3 seconds, I said to myself, I didn't come from to vacation from school to be in the hospital. So I made that quick move and moved away from taking the blow of the crash. It so happened that our car then was total loss. It couldn't be used anymore, of course. But the truck turned 3 times, and he only felt his back. The driver of the truck only felt his back. So I stepped out immediately, opened my mom's door.
So your mom was not injured, neither
Not
did you.
injured, no. So I immediately assessed the situation. I assessed that she could go into the wheelchair or something else. So I hugged her so that nothing could. We didn't have seatbelts, but nowadays the law require you to have seatbelts. But back then we didn't have seatbelts. So that's one of the reasons why I could move that quick also. And so in that thinking, that's all the thinking that went in those 3 seconds from me, and I can tell you vividly. So that's how I am in most of my life. Actually, I am aware of my environment, what's going on, and so forth. And
because you say you think it's because you're present. That's the
I
reason?
practice, yes. So it's like I don't need to sit and meditate. I meditate being present all the time.
Too.
Okay, being present all the time. So it's sometimes you require your 5 minutes or an hour. I remember a guru saying that. Do you meditate? They ask you, do you meditate? Yeah, you say no, I don't meditate. I have. Somebody tells them that they have so many stress, and if they tell you you should meditate at least 5 minutes, and the people say no, I don't have the time. Then they tell you then you should meditate an hour. So you need to meditate more.
I just saw, yes, if you should walk in nature 20 minutes a day.
Yeah,
if you don't have the time, tomorrow walk for an hour.
Yes, for sure. And I do that every morning. I run every morning, and I walk, either run or walk. But I when I do that, I'm present. Sometimes it's not easy, but I try to do it as much as possible, and that gives you a buffer. If you everything, these systems all have a buffer, and they allow you to go, for instance, for your health. If you become sick, it's one of your buffers that are depleted, and you need to take a rest, take a break. Sometimes we don't have the chance to, but we need to take that rest and break. It's your body telling you need to take a break, and your body knows how to restore itself. And if you properly nurture your body, give it what it needs, clean water, clean air, food with less toxins as possible, because today it's very hard to get food without toxins. It is able to restore itself, but we generally has
about the food. Don't you think that if you're present and you are connected with yourself, the body just can handle and manages the food? I would say all the poisons, but like it can work better.
What I would say is that to a certain extent, yes, but it depends heavily on your ability to deal with all the many ways that you are attacked. There are several ways that your body is attacked: to water, clean or not; air, clean or not. Do you take medicines? None of the medicines are healthy for you. They just make you sicker. And whether you actually get rest, you walk in nature, you take sun, and so forth. You swim. All these things build you up, build your buffer up in terms of being able to do that. Look, what you're asking is whether you can take on all these different pollutions at the same time. The answer is no. because the body can reach up to a certain point. And then you deplete not only one of your system's buffers, but all of your system's buffers, and then it implodes, it falls apart. But you can, if you're aware of these, and then deal with them as you can, as you are able to. But if it's overwhelmed, it quickly can get you sick or even kill you.
So when you say that you can, it's not, you talk to your body tells you what
is best for you.
What is best for you. How do you do, like you say you don't meditate, so you just walk, just meditate, active meditation?
Active meditation, yes. It's not.
Can you explain to us what you do? Because it would be very helpful for. That's what I do. But
yeah, it's very simple actually, and it's not meditating, but it's active meditation, and there's two versions, I would say. One of them is to be present, be aware where I am, and be talking to you, listen to you deeply, and be able to respond from my heart and from my spirit. The other way is to simply close. The first thing is to close your eyes, and then to take a deep breath. And then as you take the deep breath, put your attention on your breath, and then take a deep breath out. And then those three steps will take you and allow you to reconnect with yourself, and then keep in that state. And then once you are in a rhythm, you feel you are in a rhythm with yourself, then ask your body, if you're sick somewhere, what is happening, what can you do to alleviate that.
How do you get the responses? Because that is a very, good for people that never did that.
It's challenging for people that never have connected, of course. What I can say to help is that you get a lot. Well, the first times you'll get a lot of signals, people talking, and
noises.
Get all noises. Yes, and we can call them monkey mind. A lot of monkey jumping around.
So it is a process of like it's training. You train yourself to
practice.
Recognize your own voice.
Yeah, practice. And the key is that monkey mind, you shouldn't, I shouldn't say don't either, you should simply let it be instead of fighting against it. Simply let it be, like just water. If you touch the water, it will start to ripple. But it's by not touching it, it starts to become calm by itself. So being aware of that and let it calm down by itself. And then you're, in a figurative speaking, your mind becomes a mirror. It becomes so calm that you can mirror not only what's inside you, but also what's outside of you. And in that, you put the intention of what you want to know, and that it will mirror that response to you. That's a way of explaining it.
So you get like a message, like you see letters, you see sound, you see like somebody talking to you.
It's
like
different for everybody. For me,
that's, I would say, like I would like to make it the most graphic possible, because for people to understand.
Yeah, in my case, it's just knowing this is what I need to do, and don't fight it. Just follow it. That's I just get that instant. This is what I need to do, and then follow that. That's how I experience it.
I think it is. I tried to meditate for, I could say, 5 years. 5 years, like every day for 20 minutes, and I was so depressed because I couldn't get myself. Yeah, and so I just start, getting, but pay attention to your mind. Pay attention what your thoughts are, and I always pay attention, because if I'm being like frustrated for something, you always say something, I don't let it go for more than a day.
Mm,
That is not. So I start to pay attention, and suddenly it just came like, focus on yourself. And also, if I'm like I have a pain here or something, what's happened? It's like, oh, you were just lifting so much. It's just that image just comes like that's the answer. Yeah, you're right. It's just like that. But also, it was a big help to cooking, but cooking, like being present. And I'm an artist. I paint, and my cooking is all about color. It's just like my canvas. So I use a lot of color, and I like to see my plate with lots of color. It's just like, and so, but when I'm doing that, I eat almost the same every day: fruit, avocado, eggs, and like some beans or like some carbohydrates. So that's my breakfast every day.
Wow.
And I started like going and peeling the avocado, but if I'm like inside the avocado, just slowly and with that, like every motion is just so detailed. And also when I sit and I eat, I don't look at, well, now I do a little bit different. I watch videos because I'm trying to get this channel going. So, but I was just totally focused on the plate, and that was just that, nothing else. And when I was eating the eggs, I was thinking, and I was just thinking and giving infinite gratitude and love to all these people and all these the animals and whatever. So that's what it just really made me be very, very in tune with the act of eating. And once I start doing that, like consciously, it went unconsciously, because once you start getting the habit, it just goes to subconscious. And now it's just like eating is just like such a very concentrated activity that I do. And I can, it's a sort of a meditation for me, like totally.
It's very good for your body too, because the food you take, the energy you take is what your body expresses as well.
Yeah, I always looking for something healthy and something that is satisfying, because I used not to like fruits, but no, I love fruits. If I don't have fruits, it's not a breakfast. So anyhow, but I do like that active meditation, because for most people it's very hard to sit, relax, and take the mind out of some places. And it's very unpractical, because some people, you don't have 20 minutes, and you have 20 minutes, you have a family, or you have other things going on in your house. So I do promote this like very highly. That's so. Anyhow, so
I want to mention one important thing that one of my research areas has elaborated on is that aspect of science tend to be external, and you need to have if you're saying something, you need to be able to prove it, and somebody needs to be able to follow your steps and get the same results to prove it as a proof. And we then, as a society, haven't explored the inner aspects, experiences that we have, and be able to have a language by which we can express it and explore together on this aspect. We have been studying that as well. And in the sense, that's why I can express myself more in terms of what inner processes are that you need to be able to experience. We call it IOL, Inside Out Learning Experience Ecosystem. And it's related to quantum social learning. Quantum, again, at the energy level, and quantum we refer to as the molecule, not less than the smaller than the molecules or atoms and so forth.
Atoms level.
Yeah, energy wise, the lowest level or the smallest level is energy. And so how that process goes inside, so you can describe it. And then because we are exchanging that, we can explore that aspect, inner aspect that we never get to explore and become knowledgeable about. So we distinguish that
I like
inner
that.
science. Yeah.
Because sometimes it's very hard to express
Yes.
what we want or what we
Yes.
feel, you know, especially, well, you say the kids, they are crying, they're mad, and like it's hard for them to express, you know, tell me what your feelings are. And it's much harder for adults.
Yes.
Because you always are like shy, or you don't even know what's
going on, because you never learned how to express it. You act, and actually as a baby growing up to 6 years, you knew, but then you lose it because of society's programming. But I can give you three things you can revert back to it. Is the language is based on 3 aspects. You need to notice when you are freezing, when you are fighting something, or when you are fleeing from something. Your whole body, the biochemistry of your body, the language is based on those 3 states, those 3 phases. And sometimes they are combined, 2 of them, and sometimes they are combined, 3 of them. And when they are combined, the 3 of them, you mostly are in a depression state, in a state that you are losing yourself. Yes. So
that's interesting, because I had my days, and I was able to write fabulous notes when I was in, I guess, depression time.
Okay.
I cannot do it anymore. I mean, it's very hard for me to write now. So that's pretty interesting. That
that's interesting, and
that's very interesting.
And if you look in terms of history, you will find a lot of the people that went through a trauma. Some of them have been able to transform that trauma in an art form, or a form of expression, either written, vocally, or in many ways that we can express ourselves. But some haven't been able to, and they go and wither away in a sense. But it is from, we have our society, our human society has been heavily traumatized, and a lot of our art and creation is from that. But we can learn how to create from a position or a state where we are totally grateful and of bliss. That's why we can create as well. We can create a lot more from that.
And well, imagine most of the time you tell yourself, oh, what an idiot. You know, like something doesn't work, or you just did like, oh, stupid me, like, what the heck, you know, like, but you never say like, wow, that's so cool. You are so fabulous.
Yeah,
you're
most of the time,
you know, it's just we never tell us ourselves
how good we are.
Yeah.
We're called what we call engreídos.
Sí, engreídos. But it wouldn't be that. It would the fact that they reinforce as our the good aspect, because why not just prize yourself if you did something good? Like today, I'm an artist. We had an art show coming, and today we hang the paintings, and it was a lot of work, and it was all these women who were 5 artists, and everyone was just, and then a friend and myself, we took the command at the last, and then we finished, because otherwise we would be there for like 5 hours. Okay, so and the paintings were nice, and everybody was happy, and so that would be, you know, just like, wow, that's great. Congratulations. You did such a
Celebrate
good
it.
job. Yeah. And then now I had to come here and we are doing this interview, which is awesome. And however, I was just like thinking, oh, I had to do the frames, I had to find this. It's just that was my main thinking. It's just the opposite what it should be.
Yeah,
My thinking should be like, wow, this is an art show. It's an opportunity that some people see my art. This is great. And I'm like so excited about this channel. And it is hard. I think it's also the culture. I'm from Argentina originally, in South America. The biggest, the most important word is no. Like nothing is possible, or you know what I mean? It's just versus here in this country, in the U.S., most things are possible.
Yes.
And so you have to sort of relearn. Just forget about what you have learned and start learning something new. But I do like the positive approach, even when things are not going well, because it makes you find the
new ways of doing
the light inside. It makes you get at least not fight it, but it will come. It will come. So going back to that that day, that awful day that you were in such situation and in peril, really, like you could have lost your life and your mother. However, did not happen, and you saw that was coming, and you reacted fast, and you said that you connected to yourself, and what that came, like this intelligence, this light, this intuition.
It's not something that is I can describe as separate from me.
Okay.
We are connected. We are all connected, and we are connected. We are part of it. So it's a I could say a collaboration in that moment. I talk out of my being, my presence, but it's a collaboration. So it's not something that's separate from me and him or whatever, God or something. It's something that it's a unit. So that's it. And in that moment, it's just a flow. It's not something that's stopping and think and stop and think. It's just a flow. So I describe it when I talk about it, and I describe it in pieces, but it's 3 seconds it goes like a flow, and all of a sudden it's over. But from my experience in those 3 seconds, it's like 20 seconds. So time.
Yeah, because when things are, I don't know, I have this feeling. I had it's just something that I cannot describe, but for me, time doesn't pass.
Okay.
It's just like I know I have the time to do all what I want to do, and I know in my heart. And for many people, it's like, oh, life is too short, and I don't think so. I think life is long enough for you to do all what you want.
Yes.
And
time is a fiction of our mind. It's a construct of our mind.
Yeah, and I swear I just take time off. I used to be always frustrated and always guilty because I didn't have to do what I supposed that I should do. And I was raised that one. I had to produce, to do something. I could never be in like a time of rest. And so suddenly I and I always had this procrastination, like, oh, I had to do this, I had to do it, I couldn't do it. Until I decided that if I didn't want to do anything, I didn't do anything. I just lay down in the couch for a day, for 2 days, that's it. Like mostly like awake kids, but what I mean is just like doing nothing and not feeling guilty about it, because I always feel guilty. And once I start enjoying that, because it was pretty hard to do that, like really at the beginning. Once I start to do that, my procrastination just vanish, no more. If I don't feel like doing something, I just don't do it. I'll do it. You know, I take my time. It's like, because you have deadlines, stuff like that. But as it's no more pressure, it's no more like rushing for anything. It's just, you just follow the life rhythm. That's what I think. I don't know. It's just like
follow the flow. You need to be able to, even though there's the deadline, to be able to disconnect from that totally and allow yourself to be. We are cultured, we are nurtured, we are programmed to believe that it's only when we meet those deadlines or only when we are working actively creating something that we are of value. But we are even as much as value when we are when we are doing nothing and reconnecting with ourselves and taking care of ourselves so that we can be all that we can be. And that's how I try to live my life, to be all I can be and be in my full power to do whatever I want for whoever I want, and to be in that flow of thing and be able to create from there instead of being under pressure or being in a trauma. Or
it's so hard. It's
not easy. Yes, I know it's not easy.
And because you have to do that, it limits your imagination, it limits your flexibility. It just puts you like in a box.
Yes.
And I mean, at least I felt it that way. Now it's just like everything is just it really flows. Really flows. Well, also another thing that I would like to point is when you do that, when you trust yourself. You trust yourself that by doing what you did, you save your life and your mother's. So that is, you know, I guess living in principle, but trust that not only you make the good decisions, you can get this good decisions all the time because you trust your judgment, you trust your will, you trust your spirit.
Yes, trust the connection with your spirit as well. And,
yes. I do. I think it's kind of like the principle, because even sometimes you have these sparks of light, you don't believe that you don't believe that will happen. Like I have a funny story. Once I was going with a lady somewhere, and it's a place that is never parking, no parking at all. And so we go, and she finds a parking, and she says like, "Oh my gosh, you're so lucky you find a parking." And she says like, "No, I have my parking angels. They always find me a parking."
yeah. I can imagine that. I have that experience sometimes too. Yeah.
And so I said, "Oh my gosh, if she has an angel, parking angel, why don't I?" And I start doing that. And I tell you, it works.
Yeah, it works.
Totally works. Because you go and you know that it will happen.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I mean, the trust.
Yeah. You say it right. And I go an inkling further. You can intentionally know something by putting your intention and be so confident of it that it creates that possibility for you. You create that possibility, even though it wasn't there. You can create it by knowing without a shadow of a doubt.
Yes. And I think it's very interesting that you mentioned that, because I think it happens once you understand, when you connect with yourself. Because you start getting all these answers. And the answers work. It's not like they're gonna, ask for, what I do with your health. They're going to make you sick.
Yeah.
No, they work. And so once you start doing that, just going inside, getting all these answers, and then you trust on the answers, and then you apply them, because otherwise nothing will happen. But I do believe that it's the first step to your own alignment, that you trust when you get the answers.
It is a choice. It's just a choice. And it's our programming that makes us believe that we need confirmation to keep on trusting. But the thing is, the universe and the way it works is that once you believe something without a shadow of a doubt, the universe, and you allow it, the universe will create and bring it for you. You attract it. You start vibrating it, and then you attract what you are creating. You don't need to. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. I shouldn't say shouldn't. What you should do is focus on the possibility, and not the form of what you want, but let it free, so that the universe can provide it to you the way it can provide it to you.
That's exactly. Our work would be just to imagine what we want. And let the universe to figure out how.
Even stronger yet, vibrate in that frequency, vibrate in that gratitude of being in gratitude all the time about what you're grabbing.
But what I would like to point is, because for most people don't trust, and that's what I would like to say, because this is for people to see that there is a way, and there is, and it works. It's like it's also a process, because you always got these answers, you always got this your gut tells you, okay, but you don't pay attention, you don't follow, because you don't trust yourself, or you don't trust what I mean, I would say yourself, because it comes from you.
It
you are not certain that that's just going to happen. You are always that, oh, it will work, oh, what I do, oh, should I? And it's just when you start trusting yourself, what the decision you made based on your guts is the one, it will work. And you start, like everything, you start learning and getting practice, and it makes like a habit. And then you just don't need to question. You don't need to say, oh my gosh, it will work. No, it just happens.
And when you are going about your life, and whenever you find yourself in doubt, and in one way or another, or many ways or another, recognize that moment. Recognize that you are in many things you're doubting. So recognize that you need to reconnect and come back to center, and then connect to center, and then evaluate all of them. Have all of them there, but let yourself tell you which one is the best way to go. Just within that moment of me facing that truck coming head on to me, I made a decision. I am not going into the hospital, to put it simply. So I made a choice in that second. That second I knew what to do to not go into the hospital.
And it probably because you were in such a stressful, all your energy just was compacted into something.
No, actually it is actually letting go of everything.
Okay.
It's like whatever. It's counterintuitive. It's counterintuitive. Let me give you an example.
Whatever has to happen,
you flow with it. Yes. And let me tell you something else. It is in a car accident, in a car crash, it is the one that tenses up that's the most injuries. The one that's more flexible and loose and let go is more flexible and moves to and adjusts to the impact. And they are studying that too in terms of materials and so forth. But it's when you fall, and this I have experienced because we learned in martial arts, they teach you how to fall and so forth. It's when you tense up and you fall, then you crack your ribs, you crack your arm, and so forth. It's more, the more you relax and punch, or you are relaxed, the more flexible you are, the faster you are to respond. So that's the key in anything. It's counter to it.
It's like life.
Yes,
it's just
flow.
like, I think when you
Relax
are
and flow.
open to everything,
Open, yes.
the possibilities, when
The
you're
more-
not boxed and
We
fixed on
are-
something.
We are taught to know and tense up and and get stuck. But no, we open up and see what comes up, and be able to react and know in yourself that you can respond to it in time. And yeah, that's something that you develop. Try it with something small or less critical, less dangerous, and little by little build up your ability with it.
So I have a question that because I'm always getting out of my comfort zone. Like,
Okay. Good, good,
like
very good.
totally. Well, how much is is too much getting out of your comfort zone? Like it's it's uh it's like a habit, or like it's a good, it's just makes you um it just makes you progress, or it's just like just adrenaline driven, like
Okay. I can give you three things. One
Okay.
is, and you can find it in any one of these motivational speakers. I don't recall her name right now, but there's a lot of them that tell you that if you're training to become better at anything, you come to the point of your comfort zone, take it a few steps further. So you need to be in a uncomfortable area so that you can, and if you repeat that consistently, a capacity grows with that, and you keep on repeating that. That's one.
So you go free fall all the time.
I have no problem with that. Yeah, I can do that. And I've done it in Florida, those slings that let you go and so forth. So, and that's a good example. It reminds me of when sometimes you go in pair, and the person next to me, when we're going down, I tell them, don't tense up, let it flow through your body. And it's amazing how when they do that, they start laughing, and they feel the energy go through them, and they, instead of tensing up and crying and the anger, yeah, I enjoy that. So let it flow through your body. That's another thing. Whenever you are something,
the first one is just, you said, like the comfort zone.
Go out of your comfort zone a little bit, but don't push it way out of your comfort zone. And it's the same thing as the systems that are in your body and working. When you push it out of your comfort zone, you're pushing it out of the buffer of the way the adaptive system can adapt, and then it cracks, and then it takes if it can recover, it takes longer to recover. And for instance, people go to the gym and they exert themselves out of proportion. And then the body takes, if it recovers, it takes a long time to recover. You just need to push it further than your comfort zone and keep pushing it regularly, but give it also the rest.
Okay.
And the question you ask is, to what extent you push yourself out of your comfort zone?
Like too much or all the time?
Much. And the other very important aspect is, how do you feel in that situation?
Right.
Huh?
Great.
What? Great.
Great.
So that
Great.
is the most important thing.
Okay.
That is the most important thing, how you feel, because if you're feeling great, that is, your frequency is in the best frequency for you. And it may not be the frequency that somebody else feels great in, but you are feeling great in that moment. That's the best answer for you. So you don't ask me, ask yourself in that moment how you feel. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
That,
get out of your comfort zone and
when you
feel
get
great.
feel great,
Otherwise,
yes, yes.
just be careful.
And
Like, I mean, not be careful, but just take it slowly.
well, your body will tell you. Yourself will tell you. Follow that, and you will feel when you are out of your stretching out of your comfort zone too much. And in a sense, it's also knowing yourself, knowing your body, knowing your knowing be connected to yourself and so forth. A lot of people don't have that relationship with themselves yet. It first starts with yourself and your relationship with you, communicating with yourself. That you are, the more better you become in communicating with yourself, the better you become in connecting with other people as well. So sometimes we have problems with other people, but we need to go back into ourselves and find why are we getting stuck with that. We're probably getting stuck internally with something. And I can tell you, what we experience outside is mirrored inside. So if you are in a stressful relationship, it affects you in your liver, in your kidneys, and so forth, and you can see it. But sometimes you don't see it visibly, but you can feel it, or you can, if the doctor takes a test and so forth, you will notice the effects of it. It affects us. And little by little, the more you keep on being in that toxic relationship, it converts in the toxicity, the toxicity converts into our body as well. You'll see that. And that's something you need to consider. If that relationship is toxic and you keep staying in it. Some people may not realize that they are in a toxic relationship, and they don't know what to do, because
Yeah,
in their perception, that's the best thing for them. Maybe it is. And
it
it is,
cannot be. It's just they are trapped.
yeah,
in
trapped,
that,
yes, in a perception, yes. And
yeah, because well, that's very important to point that anything that it's bad for you is not only bad emotionally, it's also physically.
physically,
It's just
yeah.
it has a lot of bad consequences.
Yes.
Not just that.
It from the emotional, the more emotional, it transfers into the physical. One of these three systems is the social, psychological trio. Psychologically, biologically, and socially. People with traumas, especially acute trauma, tend to distance themselves from people, others, instead of reaching out and seeking help. If you see somebody that's distancing themselves from their family or friends, that means they have a problem and they need help. And for instance, using dependency on cigarettes, use of drugs, and so forth. What do you call that again? Generally,
Addictions.
addictions. Yes, addictions are not simply just the element of addiction, like cigarette, alcohol, and so forth. It is the relationship they have internally with the relationships they have externally. And that is the key to help them out of that addiction, instead of taking away that cigarette, taking away the liquor of the drug.
Yeah, because all that diseases, they are like symptoms. They're symptoms. There's something else is happening. Something else is going on. Yeah, that's it. We have been talking for an hour.
It goes fast.
20, I know, that's pretty cool, pretty cool. So I did have, let me go and check here my other questions just to, so you said that that you got all these feelings that something beyond what you are, beyond the physical, existed, or you were able to tap into. What you what makes you pursue that? Well, this is something that I would like to expand or pay attention to or know better?
Mm.
Like what makes you like think that you have some perceptions, you can be more perceptive, you can make it work for everything?
Yeah, it's actually the core of that is seeker. I'm a seeker of knowledge,
Okay,
and that's the core of it. I'm curious about everything, and
okay, I like
um,
that.
over time, I integrate that knowledge into some core things that help me determine and understand other things.
So do you want to have like an explanation for everything, or it's
Not
just
not necessarily. It's more like understanding of everything.
how things work?
Yeah, and in an integrity way, in an integral way, integral together, how everything fits together, and how
Yes,
everything dances together in the universe. So
okay.
that's the key that I can
So
say today.
in
Yes.
that one would be your more, I would say, scientific mind. That
Yeah.
would be the side that
My
makes you
curious mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inquisitive mind. Yes.
Okay, okay, that's pretty cool. So, um, what would be something interesting that we can tell the people that watch this video that work for you, and that it can work for them too, that you can inspire them to do, or just to find out like you did, curiosity, to be inquisitive or something? What would think could be something that you have to tell us?
I go back to, and it might be different for everybody at what stage they are in their life, but in any stage you are, whatever you are, whatever situation you are in, whatever challenge you're facing, you can always take a 5 minute, a 1 minute, or a 30-second break and do nothing to connect with yourself. If you think, and I'll repeat, if you think you don't have that 30 second, that 1 minute, or that 5 minutes, you need an hour. That's what I would say, because every time you do that, the more you can be present in the 1 second, in the 3 seconds that I was present in my accident that I experienced, and be the person that you want to be with anybody that you want to be. So, and in any moment, that's my lifelong learning mantra or motto. So to be present at every moment and be effective, complete in that moment, to deliver the most value in that moment for everything that I do. That's a cycle. So when you are stressed, when you feel stressed, when you are in a situation you find difficult to deal with, take that break. You need that break at that moment. It's your being telling you that you need to take that break. It is counterintuitive, and most of the times, because you are in a rush, but nothing happens in a rush. Nothing good happens in a rush. And what I can say is that everything if you are, we can take ourselves in a state where time gets stretched. And then you take one punch from here, and then the other, and then the other, and then you get through all the things that you need to get through, and then it opens up again, and you are free to go. So that's how
You
that's
bend
why
the time. You
yeah.
bend the time.
Yeah, you bend the time. Yes,
Yeah.
you bend the time. You choose to
Yeah,
bend the time.
yeah, yeah.
And that you do by reconnecting with yourself. Yeah.
That's
Reconnecting with
awesome.
yourself.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to stop recording, but then we're going to talk a little bit after that.
Okay.
Well, so far for everybody, just thank you so much. I think the conversation was interesting, and people got a nice, I don't know, education, but a nice, just
Perspective, another
perspective.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, for what life is.
Mhm.
And we all go through bad times, And you know, when you're in the bad situation, people said, "Oh, don't worry, things will happen." And I just hate that because I know things will change, but
Yeah.
when?
When, yeah, you're anxious to the when, yes.
Yes. So I guess when we are at that time that we are just having such a hard time, just document your hard times. You know what I mean?
That's one
It's
way. That's one way.
yeah. Just document, just write, just from you know, from messages, or just write in a notebook or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Because yes,
It
things
helps
will,
you learn.
yeah, but at least you can, you know, just feel lighter, and then you just laugh about just stupid thing that you just wrote when you were having that time. Okay, I'm gonna start recording here, and then I'll say goodbye in private. Okay, let me see how do I go.